What is going on, guys? I am Miguel from UCGym.com, bringing the second episode of the muscle anatomy series. So last video I covered the biceps brachii, and now I'm going to cover the triceps brachii. So I have the whiteboard once again, and yeah, so you can see all of it. Now I'm going to show you what it actually looks like, all of it. So triceps brachii at the top. So again, I drew another diagram of the tricep. So we have the lateral head, the long head, the medial head, and the Anconeus muscle. So the triceps are like the biceps. They have multiple heads for the muscle group. So the bicep, bi meant 2, tricep, tri means 3. So you have 3 heads in the tricep: the lateral head, long head, and medial head. So I drew this so that if I were to turn around and flex my tricep, the lateral head would be to my right, and then the long head would be medial towards my midline, and then the medial head would be in the middle of the tricep. So here I kind of scribbled in to show you kind of like where the medial head is and where the tendon is. So if you look at any like diagrams or pictures, illustrations of the tricep, you're going to see there's these 2 heads that form a horseshoe shape. And then in the middle, it's this white stuff. That's going to be fascia, myofascial tissue, or a tendon. And what this is just the tendon of the medial head of the tricep, which is underneath the other 2 heads. And these heads pretty much like wrap over the medial head of the tricep. So they originate on the head of the scapula, which is your shoulder blade up top. And then they insert into the ulna, which is the bone in your forearm. If you were to extend your arm out like this, the ulna would be towards the middle of your body and the radius would be on the outside. So we learned with the biceps that the long head inserts into the radius and the short head into the ulna. Now the tricep, if you turn your arm around, if you follow your ulna and you turn your arm around, tricep inserts back here. So this pretty much dictates its function. It's crossing over the elbow joint, so its function is going to be to extend the arm. So I have here written down: function, extends forearm, and another function, it adducts the arm. So a powerful arm adductor is the pectoralis minor, which is a muscle underneath your pectoralis major or your chest. Another one is your back. Many of your back muscles are powerful adductors, and your tricep helps in that. So if you don't know, adduction means adding towards the midline of your body, and abduction is taking away from the midline of the body. So if you look at your hip abductors or adductors, they bring your legs closer to your body, or they close your legs. Then abductors would do the opposite. So triceps have a role in this. So if you were to do a lat pull down, not this kind of pull down, the one where you have like a bar or rope and you bring it down this way and you're keeping your arm straight, you feel your tricep being worked when you're doing this sort of adducting motion where you're bringing your arms towards your body. So triceps have those 2 functions: extending the arm and arm adduction. The adduction can be from the front of the body down, or from the lateral side down to the middle of the body. So those are the 2 functions of the tricep. Now the tricep is subject to injuries as with any other body muscle, organ, tissue, bone, hair, whatever. They're susceptible to injury. So with the tricep, see if you can get into picture more injuries. You can have tricep tendinitis, similar to the bicep tendinitis, where if you overuse your tricep too much, the tendon can become inflamed or swollen, and over too much use you can get hair fractures or tiny tears in them, and in time just lose function. So next you have partial tricep disruption. So this happens when you overuse your tricep again and you have a muscle tear or a rupture in the not the bursa, but any like little pockets of fluid or blood or anything like that in your tendons. As the name tells, disruption, the rupture part of it, you can rupture your tricep through too much use or through falling, through a sudden impact or something like that. So next you have tricep strain and tricep tear. So a strain is different from a sprain. So the way I learned this in sports medicine is that I use the T in strain to think of tendon, and tendon relates to muscle because tendon connects muscle to bone. And then for sprain, since P didn't associate itself with anything, you just know that it meant ligaments. So I just learned that using the T in strain meant tendons and muscles, and then the P didn't stand for ligaments, but since it didn't stand for anything else, it stood for ligaments. So you can strain your muscle or tendon. But yeah, sprain, the ligament is what connects bone to bone, if you didn't know. So yeah. So next you have exercises. I have isolation and compound exercises. So you can do these with any other muscle group. You can isolate it or target it through a compound movement. So you can do a bench press as a compound movement to work your chest, or you can do pec flies as an isolated movement for your chest, because your chest is a adductor muscle as well. So if you notice when you do flies like this, your chest contracts, adduction. So for isolation exercises, I have tricep extensions, skull crushers, and tricep pushdowns. So if you haven't seen these being performed at the gym already, you can look them up and do them yourself. But they are really, really good exercises for targeting the tricep. I'll get into which grips target each head more, but just know that these are good isolation exercises: the tricep extension, skull crusher, and tricep pushdown. So next, for the compounds, we have dips, close grip bench press, and push-ups. So for dips, they're a very, very popular exercise amongst bodybuilders and powerlifters because they develop an immense amount of strength in their bench press and in their tricep. So if you look at the dip or the dip exercise at a side angle, they're doing the same movement of a bench press, just angled differently. So instead of doing a bench press in this position, they're doing dips, kind of with their hands lower here, and pushing. So if you think about it, they're extending their arms close to their body. So that way they're targeting their triceps and their chest at the same time with a little bit of shoulder, but it is a sort of bench press pressing movement. So dips are a really good compound exercise for your triceps. The more you lean forward when you do dips, the more chest you use, as you would imagine, and then the more you lean back or keep your torso upright, the more tricep you use, because you're going to be in this sort of position where your arms are at 90 degrees and you're just pushing up, you're not using your chest. So that's how you target your triceps, more specifically in dips, by keeping your torso upright. And then after close grip bench press, instead of keeping your arms shoulder width or wider during the bench press, you're going to keep them at shoulder width. Never do close grip bench press with your hands right here, because you're not going to get a really good workout and you're going to hurt your wrists because they're in this compromised position. So if you bring them down, keep in mind that the bar is straight. So if you're grabbing it this way and you're bringing it down, your elbows are flaring out more and your wrists are trying to stay in this sort of fixated position. So you're going to go down and just tear your tendons in your wrist. So yeah, close grip bench press, keep them shoulder width or a little bit closer, but never to the point where they're going to touch your chest on the way down. Next, we have push-ups. Now, push-ups, people do them pretty much all the time, but they are often a forgotten exercise because they just don't feel as good a contraction as they would through a bench press or any other exercise. But if you don't have any equipment or don't have a gym membership or anything of that nature, or you're traveling or whatever, push-ups are a really good exercise for your chest and your triceps. Same thing with the bench press. You're going to keep your hands closer, or the way I like to do them is you do diamond push-ups or triangle push-ups, where you do the sort of Illuminati symbol or a triangle, and you keep them like this and you're just going to go down and do your push-up. Your chest doesn't have to touch your hands, but it's kind of cool if you do, because you're getting a better stretch in your chest and stretch in your tricep. So good exercise, you should do it. If you don't have any equipment or don't have time to hit the gym, or just want to get a good pump before going out and walking around. So finally, we have ways to target the heads of the triceps specifically. So allegedly, the lateral head of the tricep, you can target it with your arms at your side with an overhand grip. So to target the lateral head, which is the head of the tricep more to the outside of your body, you're going to use or do exercise with your arms at your side with an overhand grip. Now, overhand grip is like it sounds, where you grab the bar this way, not with a neutral grip or underhand grip, just overhand. So an exercise being a tricep push down. We're going to keep your arms at your side, elbows locked into your side, not moving at all, and you're going to grab the bar like this. Just going to pretty much keep your elbows locked in and then extend down. Now they say that that works more the lateral head than any of the other heads, but it just depends on how you're built and how you feel it, so don't really listen to what a lot of people say or a lot of books say. It just depends on the person, what works for them. So next, the long head of the tricep can be targeted with the arms overhead. So an example being a French press, or also known as the overhead dumbbell extension, where you're going to have a dumbbell in your hands like this and your arms up and behind you. Now they say this targets more of the long head, which is this head of the tricep towards the inside of your body. So they say if you do an exercise like this, you're going to get more of a long head target. So you can do that, see how it feels, and determine whether or not you want to do this for your triceps. And then finally, medial head targeted with arms at your side with underhand grip. So this is pretty much the same thing as with the lateral head, but instead of grabbing the bar like this, you're going to grab it with an underhand grip. Now, the underhand grip is very challenging if you've never done it before, and by no means can you do the same weight as you do with the overhand grip. Because with the overhand grip, all you have to do mostly is make sure your hands are like this. You can grab it, make it feel more comfortable, but your hands are stopping the bar from going up and just launching back into the machine. With an underhand grip, you have to grab the bar so that it doesn't fly out of your fingers. So there's a difference between letting the bar sit like this and like this. So with the underhand grip, you get more of a medial head targeting or burn or whatever. So use all these variations to get a well-rounded tricep. If you feel like one head of your tricep is lagging behind the other, then do another sort of variation of grip or use a different exercise. But keep in mind that the tricep is 66% of the arm, and the biceps are 33% of the arm. So the triceps are twice the size of the bicep if you keep them both proportional. Tricep is larger. And I also forgot to mention the Anconeus. It's a small muscle that helps with the extension of the arm, and this muscle is one that you will often feel uncomfortable with if you put too much stress on your elbows. I know a guy who did tons of skull crushers, and he did them lying down on the flat bench. So what he would do is, lie down, grab the bar, extend, and he would lock his arms out. So he would be in sort of bench press position, where the weight is being transferred down to his wrists, to his elbows, to his shoulders. Now, mostly down in his elbow. And in his elbow is where he felt the Anconeus he felt pain in it, but he didn't know what it was. So he asked me, and I told him that it was the Anconeus because it's a small muscle. It is a accessory muscle to the tricep, which is the prime mover. And what it did was, pretty much he got kind of like a tendinitis sort of thing going on, where it began to feel uncomfortable because he started to overuse it, and it just wasn't strengthened enough to withhold that kind of weight for the amount of time he held it up there. So that pretty much concludes the Triceps Brachii. Remember, three seps means heads, brachii, branch. You have your long head, lateral head, medial head. The lateral head is to the lateral side of your body, to the outside. If your palms are facing up or facing forward, that's the position that the triceps are in. Just remember, same thing on both arms, not a difference. Origin, scapula, insertion. Actually, the long head originates in the scapula, and the lateral head and medial head originate in the humerus. So the long head is the one that assists with the arm adduction, and then the lateral and medial head are the ones that do the extension. So insertion, ulna, which is the medial forearm bone. Injuries, tendinitis, disruption, strain, tears, sprains, not likely because tricep isn't a bone. And then you have these exercises for isolation. You have tricep extension, skull crusher, tricep pushdown, and for a compound, you have dips, bench press, and push-ups. And then I just went over the different grips to train the different heads of the tricep. So that concludes triceps. Next video is going to be either shoulders or quadriceps. If you want one first, let me know before I start recording, but that concludes the video. If you want to see more things like this, head on over to UCGym.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel.